How are you, my fans, sneak peepers, and curious friends? I am difficult and demanding. If you want to know my real name, then hold still, and I might bring your wish to fruition. Before we begin, you can find this podcast show in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Blueberry, Google Play Music, TuneIn, YouTube, and Stitcher. Now, unlike the other people in your life, I actually care about what you think. So meet me halfway, take a tiny moment, and give my podcast and each episode a review rating. This is the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real, uncensored, and shooting straight between the eyes. The third eye, that is. I am going to hit you with explicit truth. This solo show is outrageously honest and keenly witty with a view into life. Yes, I said life. That's what we do every day when we wake up from sleeping. We are living life. Well, some of us at least. Moreover, I hope to provide you with gut-wrenching laughter and a touch of wisdom. Let's get something straight. Really, really straight. I am truly, actually, habitually, and shamelessly difficult and demanding, and I completely own it. Now, I don't ask for much because I expect and receive it all. I firmly believe that if you expect shit, you will receive shit. What does that mean? Well, it means expect nothing but the best and don't settle for less. As always, I, your host, Tara, am keeping it real and uncensored. Are you imagining all of the possibilities? What could I possibly be talking about this week? To find out, unplug from your life and dive all into episode 45 of the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast. Would you believe me if I told you that there are men being abused by women? Yes, they're being abused mentally, emotionally, and or physically. Now, how is that? How do you define troubled? How do you identify troubled? What is the best way to help a troubled teen? Do you try to break them to tame them? How does breaking a person's spirit with religious principles go hand in hand? Before I begin, I am going to do a call out. What's a call out? Well, it's not a shout out. I am calling out you motherfucking lurkers. If you have entered my world, then be honest with yourself about it. You want to be here, and you know I want you here, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Finally, climb aboard and enjoy the entire show, because I am giving you plenty of ridiculous honesty. Once the podcast episode ends, I am keeping it going on my Instagram page at Difficult and Demanding and on my Twitter page at Mrs. D and D. How are you? No, really, how are you? You don't know if you want to list all of your problems or concerns? So let's try this again. Let's try this a different way. Tell me, what can I do for you? Yes, what can I do for you? How does that sound? It sounds good? Really, really good. Do you like how it makes you feel? I bet you do. Have you ever felt anything like that? No. No, has it? Has it been a while? Has it been a long time? Has it been ever? What can I do for you? Nowadays, you hear it at luxurious establishments where you're paying money. But what if you could have it in your day-to-day life? Yes. Oh, you think I've lost it again? How is this for a thought? What if I actually found it instead of lost it? What if I'm on to something? What do you think about that? Can I be on to something? No, you don't think I'm on to something. But I have piqued your interest, haven't I? Have I piqued your curiosity? Well, come to me. Come over to me to find out more. So what can I do for you? What do you need? What do you want? No, this is not a fantasy. This is what your life is supposed to be like. Can you imagine what your life could be like? Can you imagine what your life could be like? To surround yourself with the right people? To have your loved one ask you, what can I do for you? Someone asks you that when they need you and only you. Not all of those other perks that come with you. No, they need YOU. So they'll work to do for you, to fulfill you, because your very presence fulfills them. What do you think about that? Are you imagining all that could be, all that might be? Huh? It's so nice. It's so right. Now, you know that's too simple when it comes to me, don't you? It's too simple when it comes to me. What do you think about that? You're waiting for the punchline, right? Now, what I just described is so alluring, enticing, and nurturing. But there's a group that exists. This group is suffering silently behind closed doors. They are being abused by their partner or spouse. And they don't know it at all. You're thinking, yeah, right, Tara. How can someone not know? Well, I'll tell you. I'm talking about abused men. Oh, shit. I got you with that, didn't I? I got you with this one. Yes, abused men. What's your initial reaction? You're skeptical? Cynical? You think that what I'm saying is fraud? How is it possible for a man to be abused when men are typically the culprit? The key word here is typically. Every man is not a monster. There are men who know how to control themselves. There are men who are not aggressive and violent. There are men, when they are in aggressive circumstances, they don't react like a monster or an animal, okay? So let's get that straight. The same way a woman finds herself in an abusive relationship, yes, the same way a woman finds herself in an abusive relationship, so can a man. And you're thinking, well, is the man gay? No, it has nothing to do with their sexual orientation. A man can be in an abusive situation with another man or with a woman. So let me get something straight with you. I am talking about men being abused by a woman, emotionally, mentally, and physically. What do you think about that? What can I do for you now? You're stumbling, you're startled, you're rattled, you don't know what to make of it. Yeah. And how you feel right now, it's how these men feel. But there's a stigma attached to their situation. There's a stigma attached to it. When they try to get help, they can't get help. When they try to get help, what they're saying is being marginalized and demeaned. So how does a man get himself into a relationship like this? Well, it's the same way anyone gets themselves into a relationship like this. Most people don't know they are walking into a relationship like this. Yes. You think there's a sign, a neon fucking flashing sign that says, hey, come this way. I am an abusive relationship. I am going to abuse the fuck out of you emotionally, mentally, and physically. There's no sign. These people are typically, not the men, the women. They are charismatic. They are accommodating. They are alluring. They are enticing. They're mysterious, intriguing, loving, funny. They're everything that you typically imagine and you want. And the more comfortable you get, the more secure you get, the more they have their hooks and claws into you. That is when the nightmare starts to unfold for these men. Yeah, it starts to unfold. Now, depending on the man and his background and his mindset and experiences, it may happen within a short time or it may happen over a long period of time. But whatever happens, it's going to happen in a way that ensnares you, that traps you, that holds you. It's not very simple. It's very complicated. It's very twisted. And it's very magnetic. So you're asking, why does he stay? I'll tell you why he stays. Because he doesn't even know that he is in an abusive relationship. So if you take the physical part away, and let's just focus on the emotional and mental aspects of abuse. People typically like to say that women are hormonal, they are moody, they have mood swings. Women are just women. They can be bitchy or not. So when you're approaching a relationship with those type of stereotypes or mindsets, you just think, you know what? It's her time of the month. She's moody. She's hormonal. Because a woman can hide behind that. She can use her cycle as a way to mask the madness that's within her, to mask the demons that are waiting to pounce and take control of the relationship. Yes, she has some other tricks that a male abuser does not have. A woman has some other tricks that she can use to hide who and what the fuck she is. Yeah. She can use her cycle, her hormones, a number of different things, because women are just so emotional, right? So emotional. But over a period of time, alarm bells start going up saying, okay, this shit is a bit above the top over the extreme. Is this hormonal? Is this something else? So a man will start trying to have a conversation with other men about what their experience with their wives. And men are not really communicative. They don't communicate very well. So it's hard to really decipher what the fuck is going on with another man's wife and trying to gauge or benchmark your wife or girlfriend's level of craziness. You can't get to the heart of it. And the more you dig and the more you try to get information, your male friends are going to look at you like you're a punk bitch motherfucker, like you can't handle your woman, right? Every woman is crazy. Every man knows that. So you can't even begin to find out as a man if you are dealing with some type of normal, hormonal, monthly type of thing, because each woman is unique, or your woman, is in a realm of her own. But here's the funny thing. You're saying, well, if he doesn't like the way she's acting, leave her. Yeah, but men, they have something called a hero instinct, okay? And once a woman starts acting shitty ass motherfucking crazy, terrorizing, doing whatever she does, emotionally and mentally, verbally abusing, then what she gets to do, what she will proceed to do is when she realizes that, okay, maybe I've done too much, maybe I've gone too far, then what she does is she plays a helpless victim. She turns emotional. She plays on those heartstrings, those strings of a man who wants to rescue, who wants to help. Most men don't want to leave a damsel in distress. So she fucking sneak attacks, she pounces. And then when she's gone too far, then all of a sudden she's hormonal. She's helpless. She doesn't know what to do. She needs your help. She can't survive without you. She's fucking playing motherfucking tricks. She's mind psychologically fucking the dude. Because for him to leave her crying, distraught or whatever, how is that going to make him look? It's going to make him look careless, heartless, cold. Normal men don't want to be seen like that. They don't want to be held in that regard or portrayed in that regard. So they're going to naturally come and try to help her to get it right. And then everything will calm down, make up, and then the cycle starts again. What does it mean to be an abused man? They suffer silently also. But unfortunately, society is not very embracing of men who are getting traumatized by women, especially if there's no physical scars or abuse. Even if there are bruises and things like that, it's not taken seriously because we have this limited mindset that a man can always overpower a woman. A man can handle everything. A real man could do this. There's no real man. There's no real woman. We are all human beings with our strengths and not so strengths. And some of us have not experienced or don't know when some shit is motherfucking off. We don't know. We just get acclimated, used to this fucking madness. And we think this is normal reality when something inside of us is telling us it's off. and something inside of us is telling us that we should move on or move away, we get ensnared by trying to rescue a bitch who's fucking trying to kill you from the inside out. So what does it mean to be an abused man? You are basically, you're being held hostage. You're shackled. You're damned if you try to leave and get away. You're damned if you stay. There's no one to talk to. There's no one to understand. And that is how the women, they isolate you. Just like a man will isolate a woman, abused woman, to keep her away from friends, family, and all that. A woman isolates a man emotionally and mentally. He cannot speak to anyone about this. He cannot share this with anyone about this. He can't even vet what the fuck is going on to find out if this is normal or not. So then he's carrying it within him. And slowly he gets to close himself off. He gets shut off from the world. And the more he gets shut off from the world, the more she has him in her fucking abusive grips. The outside looks perfect. Their smiles, the perfect image, all that. But behind closed doors, she has that motherfucker mentally and emotionally shackled. He is shell shocked. Because if you act out of line in public, if she finds out, if you said anything about it, she is going to rain terror on you. Not for one moment, for many moments. Like you're being fucking haunted. Like a fucking vampire is after you and you have nowhere to go. You have no one to tell. You have nowhere to hide. You are stuck in this miserable trap. So what do? You try all that you can to appease the motherfucker. The motherfucker would be her. She works you like a dog. She criticizes, she chastises you. She curses you. You don't know. She makes up shit and accuses you. The list goes on and on and on to keep you mentally and emotionally shackled. So you're suffering in silence. You're suffering alone with shame, guilt, embarrassment, confusion. And the longer this goes on, the more you get into a fucking haze and a coma. When does the abuse start? Well, it's going to start as soon as it motherfucking can. But typically what happens? It's when the abuser, the woman, feels like she can hook you. She's committed you. She's got you. She's cornered you in some way where she has a sense of security. She has something that she's anchored on, and she slowly builds on that. Her mood starts shifting slightly. Then she realizes, oh, if my mood shifts like this, what is he willing to do for me? Okay, let me shift my mood a little bit more. Let me shift my mood a little bit more just to see how this man who cares for you, what he's willing to do for you, whether he's willing to jump through hoops and do all that just to make you happy. She tests him. If you have a mood shift and you realize the motherfucker doesn't give a fuck about you, then you tell him you have a tantrum, he still doesn't give a fuck, then she realizes, you know what? This is not a person that I can do my shit with. I need to find another motherfucker. She finds someone who's accommodating, who's a gentleman, who's loving, caring, balanced, giving. And that is the motherfucker she ropes in. She ropes in a balanced person, relatively balanced, unaware, who wouldn't see this shit coming up close, far away. If there was a sign, they wouldn't see it coming. It all starts with mood shifts. Does the person stay? Do they go? What do they do for me? Can I get more? Basically, she's trying to figure out, how can I make this bitch my bitch? That's what she's trying to do. Make you her bitch, her doormat. So it's a slow process. It's a slow progression. But a real skilled person, if they can hook you fast and harder, they'll drop that shit on you once. They'll get you pigeonholed and they'll drop it on you and shell shock your ass, and you'll be continuously shell shocked. You won't even know what the fuck is going on unless you talk to someone and they share with you what it is that you're going through. What happens when he seeks advice or help? Well, if she finds out that he's seeking advice or help, there's going to be a problem. You see, women, we're very astute. We're very keen. We're very aware. We notice the slightest shifts in people's personalities. So if a person that you normally have them rattled and rolled and just running like frantic, all of a sudden if they start to get calm and clear, then it's clear that they're getting help from someone. And then if it's clear they're getting help, the intensity of the madness increases. Accusations come out with no foundation, no rationale, no proof, nothing. They just bombard you, blindside you, go and attack your ass, mentally and emotionally attack you. And you're like, what the fuck happened? They like to keep you startled. Because when you're startled and you're in a frenzy, you can't think straight. When you're frazzled, you can't have a coherent argument. And once they get you frazzled, they take that shit and they take you and they run with it. Any and everything is racked and rolled. It's like someone dropped a bomb literally in your life, and that person feeds off it. And all you want to do is to make it stop. The yelling, the screaming, the cursing, the madness, you just want it to stop. But where can you go? What can you do? All you can do is shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, and do whatever they're asking and hoping that the storm passes. That's abuse. It is abuse. You are in an abusive relationship when someone is terrorizing you intentionally to the point where you can't think straight, you can't see straight, you can't cope, you can't function, you don't know what to do, you can't talk to anyone about it, there's nowhere to go, no one listens to you. You are being abused. Men, listen to me. You are being abused. No grown ass woman can be acting like a fucking fool like this and using her fucking monthly cycle as an excuse. No, you should know there is a bandwidth for hormonal, because men also have their slight mood strings. But if you're going through something that's just beyond, and it's rattling you from the inside out, it's traumatizing for a while, it's sucking the life out of you, it's tiring, it's draining, you're wound tight, so stressed, you are being abused. You are being abused. I don't know any other way to say it. How does he cope? He tries to appease her. He tries to stay out of her way. He tries to give her what she wants. He does everything he can to make and hope that the storm, the madness pass. But sometimes it can last for days, weeks. Imagine if you're being bombarded day in and day out for a long period of time. That shit wears you down. Even a gun, if you keep shooting it, at some point in time, that gun is going to grow weary. It's not going to function properly. So if you're with someone for a sustained period of time and this is what they're doing to you, they are trapping you. They're killing you. They are abusing you. And just because you don't have the physical bruises, the emotional, mental turmoil that they're causing to you, you have no idea how that cuts and hurts deeper. You have to get away. You have to cut that person off. You have to get out, because if you don't get out, they're going to kill you one way. They're going to kill you or make you want to kill yourself. Just stop it. And you still don't believe that a woman can do this. Yes, if a man can do it, a woman can do it. Just because you say, well, the man, since he's stronger, what does he overpower her? Because not all men are like that. They don't want to hurt her. You think a man wants the stigma of being an abuser? A domestic violence? No. So she also has that in her hand. If he touches her, he can go to jail. If he threatens her, he can go to jail. So she's playing all the female cards, which is typically used to support and help women who need help. She can play all those cards to basically imprison and abuse this guy. She's working the system. And if he leaves, then he's a deadbeat. If he stands up for himself, he is an abusive man. He can't win. He cannot win. All he can do is fold or realize and get clarity that he needs to fucking escape. So why can't he see the situation for what it is? Because I told you, people try to chalk it up as just women are crazy. It's just hormonal. And as a man, you need to be able to deal with it. If you can't handle your woman, then what kind of man are you? It's this fucking bullshit mindset that we deal with that's not real. So because of these stereotypes, these gender types, we have people staying in relationships much longer than they need to, much longer than they should. It's simple as that. And it's not good. Because we are shackling people and causing them not to seek the help they need just because they're a man. It doesn't matter. People need help. They need help. And we should accept the fact that it doesn't matter who or what the person is. If you need help, you need help. That's it. And if you don't know that you are in this type of situation and you don't understand how it plays out, you can understand how you can get trapped and go further and further down this path and lose yourself, completely lose yourself. And that is what she's hoping. She's feeding off of you. She's sucking the life out of you. She targets you. For whatever reason, whatever her mood, you never know what the fuck is going to set her off, but she's targeting you. There's something about you that she likes, she dislikes, and she's trying to suck the soul out of it just because she can. And then what happens if you start to stand up for yourself? What do you do when she starts threatening to harm herself? Huh? And maybe say that you did it to her. Oh, you didn't think women can be that devious? Yeah, they can be. Humans are humans. It doesn't matter what genitals you're carrying. So at what point in time, you have to figure out, do I call their bluff? What do I do? I've been in this for so long. No one's going to believe me. And now if I go now, she harms herself and she blames me, I can lose all that I have. Yeah. This is a treacherous chess match. Treacherous. All for trying to be helpful and loving. This is what the fuck you get. We get signs all the time from people, red flags. And we ignore these red flags. We chalk it up as a bad day, a bad moment, a slight hormone stress. Then a little bit of time goes by, you forget about it, it happens again. And you come up with some more batches of bullshit to justify what the fuck you're going through. And then before you know it, years go by. Years go by. When someone shows you their ass, you need to trust that is their ass and move the fuck on before it's too late. And even when it's too late, you can still get the fuck out. But you got to speak up and you got to get help. And I know that it's hard to find someone who's trusting and that can understand and that won't judge and make you feel more weak and helpless. But you got to seek that person out. You got to seek those persons out and get what you need so you can come up with a strategy to get yourself out of the clenches, the jaws of this madness. How can he get out of it? With help. With strength and with clarity, with help. Men that are being abused, they need a support system just like women. They need someone who can anchor and support them through the madness and disconnecting themselves from the venom and poison that's being injected in them verbally and mentally from their supposed female loved one. They need someone to help them see that this is wrong. And now the best people to show that and to help with that is a woman. Because a woman can tell a man, what you're going through is not normal. Another man really can't understand because a man is not a woman, but a woman can tell a man that the chick you're dealing with, her shit is fucking rocked and off and it's not right and you need to get the hell off. A woman can speak very clearly about a woman because we understand women. Men understand men better, but women understand women. And we can tell you what is the normal girth and depth of what our hormonal madness is and what you're doing is not right. It's not right. So if you don't understand, men are being abused. They can be abused. And they are emotionally and mentally trapped because they are isolated. They're intentionally isolated due to gender stereotypes, embarrassment, the woman playing the female victim card. There's a whole host of things that she used to keep him in her clutches. How does the abuser keep him trapped? I already told you. She plays to his hero instincts. She plays to threatening him with domestic abuse or anything else like that. If he does something, she threatens to harm herself. There's a whole host of tricks that a woman can use to play into a man. You see, people who are abusers, they're master manipulators. They know how to play their cards. They know how to play the people they're with, and they play that shit to win. But there's always something within us, which is our soul, our spirit, that's telling us, this is not right. It is not right. And even if you have children, If you don't get out, you're going to be showing your children this is how you might be treated. This is how you could be treated one day. And you have to understand, you have to break the cycle. You have to save your children. If not, they're going to go through the same thing, or they're going to perpetrate that on someone else. You really have to understand that. So if you don't have the strength to do it for yourself, find the strength to do it for your children. And use that to harness and catapult yourself out of that. Get support. Find people, female, and not all females are enlightened. So you know what? You need to find the best source that you can to help you get the strength to get out. But I'm telling you guys, men who are being abused, most of them don't even know that they're in an abusive relationship. They don't know. They think they're being helpful. They think they're being loving. They think they're being supportive. They're trying to be a superhero and help, and they're getting fucked in the process. They're getting fucked up and fucked over in the process. And if you don't think verbal and emotional abuse can cause some serious damage, you're wrong. It causes equal damage in men and equal damage in women. It doesn't matter your genitals don't matter. So we need to open our minds, open our hearts, and open our souls to realize women are abusers also. And they work and play the system to attack and harm others. There are some women who are physically only, some women who are physical, mentally, and emotionally, and there's some women who are mental and emotional. It depends on their fucking preference. They won't wear a t-shirt, they won't wear a ball cap, and they won't have a fucking neon sign for it. But what I will tell you is this. Have boundaries of what you will or will not accept. And hold that shit. Stand true to it. And that will help mitigate staying in relationships longer than we should that do not benefit us. Let's be loving. Let's be helpful. Let's be less non-judgmental. And if there's ever anyone, a male, who's hinting slightly into whatever, in any way, shape, or form, that he's going through something, listen to him. Don't judge him. Don't minimize. Don't marginalize. Don't do that. Listen, because he's talking to you because he's seeking help. He needs help and he doesn't know how to ask. So he's trying to find the safest way for his own respect and integrity to bridge the topic, to find out information. So be there for them when they bridge. Be there because it's difficult for them to speak up. Do you understand? Now I'll be moving over to something in the news. All right, so I read an article, and the title of this article said that a school for troubled teens punished girls for being gay. A school for troubled teens punished girls for being gay. So you have parents, guardians, who send their child away to a school to supposedly help them because they're quote unquote troubled. And you are basically taking a troubled person and meeting them with harshness. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. You have someone who's disturbed on some level, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. You choose one, you choose them all. You pick and choose, do whatever you please. But let's assume on a basic level that this person is hurt and they are suffering. So to give them healing, you send them away to a school for other troubled people so that they can get help or they can get out of your hair. You see, the whole thought of this, to me, it seems good on the surface. It seems promising on the surface, but it's a bunch of bullshit. It's passing the work. It's passing the blame. It's basically shirking work. Someone is troubled. And I'm going to assume that you attempted to find out what was troubling your daughter.
your niece, whoever you tried to find out. And eventually you are at your wit's end. So you send them to a school with the other bunch of flock of troubled teenage girls in the hopes that when they return, they will be quote unquote better. But when they go away, they are being met with punishments that you are slightly aware of, but you choose to be oblivious to, because you are hoping for that miracle, for that girl to return that fits that mold in your mind, your heart. You want them to be a cookie cutter of you or what society expects. None of y'all have figured out that if a person is troubled, on some level, what that person is trying to tell you is that they have no interest in conforming. There is something deep within them that is causing them to rebel, to act out, to do an unconventional, unorthodox approach to life. It is not because they fully choose it, it's because they don't have a choice. And some of you may get this, and some of you probably don't understand what I'm getting ready to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Have you ever felt torn within? Your mind wants you to do one thing, your heart, your soul wants you to do another, and you're being pulled in two different directions. You can get that, can't you? You understand that? Okay, good. Now, that's the first step. You are in that tug of war, and let's assume your mind and your heart have an equal power. So you stay in a state of being torn. But let's just say your spirit, your heart, your soul is stronger than your mind. Consider that for a second. Which means you are going to go and do things that make your heart sing, that makes you stand out, that makes you catch the attention of others. But unfortunately, because these people are doing things that are quote unquote not normal, quote unquote unacceptable, they are being judged, they are being tossed to the side, and they are being sent away by trying to find their footing and their voice. They're being punished for finding their footing and their voice because they do not easily fit a mold of what a girl or what a teenage girl is supposed to be, what a human being or what a woman's supposed to be. So you take someone who is struggling to find their way and you take them out of one scenario and you throw them into a worse scenario with a bunch of unknown people and strangers, and you believe that you are helping. You believe that you're benefiting. You and I both know you don't believe it. That school told you what the hell you wanted to hear. They showed you what the fuck you wanted to see. And when your instinct said this is not right, you still went ahead with it because you didn't want to deal with the work. You didn't want to deal with the headache. You rather wipe your hands clean and hope for the best, right? Let's continue. Former students and employees of this religious academy school said girls were disciplined even if they discussed the idea of being gay. This is just torture. You can call it whatever you want, from even sending the teenage girl away for not fitting your mold. That was the beginning. Maybe that wasn't the beginning. Maybe your disapproval, your judgments, and all that was the beginning of this mental and emotional torture. And to turn the fire up on this, you put them in a place, a school, which they are not even able to voice an idea, to discuss an idea, to discuss a topic which may or may not apply to them. They are punished. So you had a problem with them being different from the get-go, and you have put them in a place that's basically going to finish the work that you've already started, which is mental, emotional, and physical torture. A girl said, I didn't come out as a queer for 10 years because of it. She didn't come out as a queer for 10 years because of what or how they were being punished. First of all, the word queer. It is unbelievable to me how quote unquote normal society comes up with these labels, these terms, and these words to describe behavior that they, one, don't approve of, two, they practice behind motherfucking closed doors, and three, they watch on the motherfucking Pornhub. But you want to call someone queer? How is someone going to be queer standing in their truth? How is someone going to be queer being courageous? The motherfucker that's queer is the person who is pretending to be X when they're motherfucking Y. That is the queer. That is the weird part. Have you guys looked up the word queer? And why would we accept a word, a term, a label? Now, I understand the psychology behind it. You figure if people are casting stones, casting judgment, they're slaughtering us, they're marginalizing, they're demeaning us, then you know what? We're going to stand tall. We're going to stand proud. And all those labels and all that muck that they're throwing on us because we love differently. I understand that. But what I'm telling you, you don't have to stand in shit. You don't have to accept anything. You don't have to call yourself a queer, because guess what? If you're a queer for this, another motherfucker's a queer for that. Do you understand? A queer can be anything you want to apply to. People who eat motherfucking beef hot dogs could be motherfucking queer if you change your point of view and your perspective, depending on what culture and what country you're in. So this is something that I really want you guys to think long and hard about. I understand that we are trying to find some courage, some gumption, some integrity, some strength in these negativity that people throw our way. But what I'm saying to you is you don't have to own that at all. You don't have to own the word queer. You don't have to own the word gay. You don't have to own a motherfucking thing except for you and your soul. That is the only thing you need to own. Don't let someone restrict you. Don't let someone put you in a corner. Don't let someone even begin to describe you. You love who you love. And that is what it's all about. So how can loving be queer? That makes all of us motherfucking queers, if you ask me. Think about what I'm saying. Who you choose to love, someone's trying to call you queer. Who you choose to make love to, fuck, whatever you want to call it, that makes you queer? How you get off is how the fuck you get off. And how the fuck you get on is how the fuck you get on. It's simple as that. How can someone determine that for you? There's some shit that you cannot touch. There's some things that you cannot change. There's some things you cannot do anything about. But what you can do is you don't have to accept negativity. You don't have to accept a label such as a queer just to embrace the scars and the trauma that you've been through. You don't have to celebrate that shit. Cast that stuff off of you. Shut it off of you like it's a fucking cocoon. Shut it off of you. Don't carry that with you. Now, if you don't care, that's another thing. But if deep down in your heart and soul, you are using the word queer as a way to rebel, that means you still care about what these other people think. You still care about what these people feel. And if you really have healed and move on, you only embrace what makes you the most radiant being that you can be. It's simple as that. Because when I look at this sentence and this girl said, I didn't come out as a queer for 10 years because of it, all I can read in that sentence is shame, is regret, is trauma, heartache, marginalization, low self-esteem, low self-worth, battling within oneself to find a voice, to find peace, to find happiness and bliss. You don't have to use other people's bullshit to find your footing, find your way. And I understand that what you went through caused you to be quiet, to be silenced for 10 years. But don't use a label that these perpetrators have placed upon you. Don't give them that privilege. Don't give them that joy. Don't give them that shit. If you want to, come up with a new label. Come up with a new term. Define what you are. Don't let these other motherfuckers tell you if you're queer or not. Don't let them define your sexuality. Don't let them define your love life. Don't let them define you. Don't give them that shit. Don't give it to them. Because what is queer today can be normal tomorrow. And what is normal tomorrow can be queer today. It doesn't matter. It's some human bullshit. That's all it is. That's all that it is. Now, here's the story of what happened to one of these girls, teenagers. At 5 a.m., two strangers entered the bedroom of a 15-year-old girl. Listen very carefully to what I said. At the age of 15, in the middle of the night or early morning, whatever you want to call it, two strangers entered the bedroom of a 15-year-old girl. Do you know how scary that shit is? How scarring, how traumatic. You talking about PTSD to the extreme? You are asleep. You are awakened by two people standing in your motherfucking bedroom. Your parents are nowhere around. No one's around. And these people are in your room. You don't even have a chance to wake the fuck up, get the crust off your eyes, and wipe the drool off your bottom lip. And you have these two individuals standing inside your supposed intimate, secure area within the home. They tell her to get dressed and come with them. She doesn't know if she's being murdered, kidnapped. She doesn't know if her whole family's. She doesn't know a motherfucking thing. So this is where the real cutting begins. Okay? All these things, all these thoughts are going on in her mind. So she gets dressed. And after being scared the fuck out of her wits and rattled from the inside out, on her way out of the house, she finds a letter from her mom on the dining table. You want to talk about a bitch ass cowardly move. Yeah, I said it. And I don't give two tears in the bucket, fuck it, what you think about it, because that's exactly what it is. You send two strangers in your daughter's room in the middle of the night, scared the shit out of her. She doesn't know she's going to be murdered, sold into sex. She doesn't know what the fuck is happening. But she's trying to survive. So she's obliging and complying with what they're saying to her. And on the way out, she is led to a letter that was written by you, her mother. You want to talk about being gut punched, soul punched from the inside out? That cuts deeper than anything you can ever imagine. This girl goes from thinking she's being kidnapped and possibly murdered to realizing that her mother orchestrated this traumatic experience under the guise of love. So she's betrayed on a level that's so deep that most people cannot comprehend, because your parents are the first protectors and the ones to give you guidance and a foundation. And if they are sending strangers in your bedroom in the middle of the night to take you away, can you people even begin to grasp what that does on a psychological, physiological level? And the effects of that won't come out for a while, because it has to take the time to finish searing all the way down to her core, that trauma, that hurt, that pain. And that will continue searing for a while. And then she has to begin healing from the fact that she was just thrown aside like a pawn. She was thrown aside like a pawn. Her mom's letter said, "It's going to kill me to let you go away to a special program. It's going to kill you. It's going to kill you." How about what it's going to do to the 15-year-old girl? See, you are an adult. You are more than likely better equipped to deal with a situation like this. But a 15-year-old, I don't care what you say, even though their body may be growing and maturing, that person's still a child. They've known you since the day you conceived them, and they've been growing inside your womb. and then you decide just to send them off because they're doing some things that you don't agree with, that you can't possibly understand, and you're telling her that it kills you, but you have conveniently blocked out, if it's killing you, what the hell do you think is done to her? You see, you're still sitting at home in a place that you're familiar with and you feel safe and secure in. But she's being sent someplace that she had no choice. She had no awareness. She's being sent away like a damn fucking slave. No voice, no say, no nothing. And you want to talk about how it's going to kill you to send her to a special program. That's bitch ass. It's bitch ass. And I understand you may have had the best intentions and you are at your wit's end. But instead of sending your child away, maybe you should have sought some fucking therapy on how you can be better mentally and emotionally equipped to address what the fuck is going on. Because if you're going to make a decision to send your child away, then at least you can do is boss the fuck up and have a conversation with them face to face. You weren't even around. You wrote a motherfucking letter. What kind of shit is that? You were too weak? What? She was going to start bawling? She was going to run away? What? That's why people you should not have kids unless you are mentally, physically, financially, emotionally ready to do so. Because if you thought your daughter was quote unquote fucked up then, you can't even begin to grasp what is going to happen to her when she's away. And the people you're sending her away to, you don't know those motherfuckers. Yes. As an adult, you should have enough goddamn sense to realize that people show you what the fuck you want to see and tell you what the fuck you want to hear. But we conveniently don't want to dig a little deeper for fear that if we see the shit, we may change our minds because we found an easy way to make our lives better, a convenient way to make our lives better. So your daughter takes your letter saying that it's going to kill you, but clearly you're not motherfucking dead. Not dead, right? No, you're not dead. You were fucked up when your daughter was there at your home, and now you're going to be fucked up now your daughter's not there. So how is that a win-win situation? It sounds like you were fucked up from the beginning, and then you signed yourself up for some more fucked up shit and add some more shit on top of that. Why do we make decisions where we stack ourselves to lose? We stack ourselves to lose. Who's winning in this situation? The only motherfucker that's winning is that religious academy that you're sending your child to because they're taking your money. They can't guarantee results. They can't guarantee you shit. You don't know who you're going to get back when your daughter returns from this religious academy. You don't know who the fuck you're going to get. So the only person that's winning is this fucking school, and your dingbat motherfucking ass is going for it on a hope, wing, and a prayer. And you're staking your child's well-being and their future well-being on some bullshit because you're insecure and you don't know how to navigate and deal with what's going on. You see, guys, what you don't understand is a teenager, a child, an adult, they're just people. And if they're behaving in a way that you find great discomfort, you need to analyze why it's uncomfortable for you. You really need to analyze. People behave a certain way for a reason. There is always a reason. The question is, how do you get to that reason? How do you approach finding that reason? And when you find the reason, what do you do with it? How do you handle it? It's very simple. It's very simple. You see, your daughter did not have a problem with how she was acting. You had a problem with how she was acting. So the real issues actually lies within you. Not her, it's you. You're the motherfucker with the problem. You're the one with the judgments. You're the one with the insecurities. You're the one with the doubts. So why are you placing that upon your teenage daughter? Because you decided to become a cookie cutter motherfucking grown ass woman. That's what I said. A cookie cutter grown ass woman, which means you have no voice. You can't find a fucking voice. And if you had one, you killed the bitch because you wanted to be like everyone else and fit the fuck in. And unfortunately, your daughter has a little bit more feistiness in her, and she wants to find her way, and that makes you uncomfortable. So you basically ship her off like a motherfucking orphan so you can live your traditional comfortable, normal existence. Quite loving, very loving of you, very loving. They drove this girl to a California boarding school in the mountains, and she lived there for almost a year and a half. A year and a half. So she's basically in an orphanage. And one of the most crucial times in her years, from 15 to 16 and a half, 17, one of the most pivotal times in her life, she spent away from all that she's ever known and had. And you think that's positive. She said when she arrived back home, when she arrived at the school, she was strip searched. Why would someone need to be strip searched? That is a way for you to start chipping away at the person's core and being. It's a way for you to start deprogramming, reprogramming them. You're trying to take away who they are and create a version of a human being that you expect to see, that you expect to live with. So violation on top of violation on top of violation. She strip searched, but the mother probably had problems with the daughter being promiscuous and sleeping with whoever she chose to sleep with. But you're okay with someone stripping your daughter naked and searching her body. That's okay. So getting naked wasn't the problem. It's why you're getting naked and who you're getting naked from. So one way the daughter found joy and pleasure, and the other way she's basically being pseudo raped, and you're okay with that. You're paying money for people to do that, and you think that's fine. I don't understand the logic behind things, and I swear I do understand. There's a version of love behind it. There's a version of good intentions, but there has to be a better way to solve these conflicts, these issues that's not traumatizing, that's not hindering, that's not scarring. There has to be a better way than the ways that we take. There has to be a better way than us entrusting someone else that we don't know with something that is the most precious gift in the world, which is a life. How can you trust a life that you created in the hands of someone that you barely know? And they're going to take your child to some remote place. If you're doing some real good work, why you got to hide? Why you have to be remote? Why you have to be in the hills of mountains? Well, people say, well, they're trouble. The kids may try to escape. No one's going to try to escape some good shit. Huh? Listen to that. You got a feast on the table. And you ask people to come sit at the feast. What motherfucker's going to run away from a goddamn feast at a table? You don't run away from a feast. You know what you run away from? You run away from bullshit. You run away from hardship. So if you guys are sending your kids to a school that has bars and fucking guards and remote locations, common sense would tell you these motherfuckers got something to hide. And you don't want to put your child, one of the most precious things, in the hands of someone like this. For whatever reason. Now, some of these girls are troubled, quote unquote troubled, for various reasons. It could be sex. It could be smoking. It could be partying. It could be drinking. It could be skipping out of school. It could be that they're gay. Whatever that doesn't fit the norm of what these narrow-minded ass motherfuckers think, everything is abnormal. If you don't fit this narrow mold, any and everything that you do, say or think, is considered queer, is considered odd, is considered trouble. When the real troubled people are the people with these narrow fucking horse blinders on, they're the ones that's troubled. Because if you came from a real place of love, love does not hurt. Love supports, it uplifts, it understands, it's compassionate, it has empathy, it guides, it harnesses, it helps you radiate and shine, it clears through confusion and it gives you clarity. It respects you no matter what, whether you agree or disagree. That is what fuck love. Love has nothing to do with showing someone what the fuck they want to see and telling them what the fuck they want to hear. That is not love. I don't understand. The more and the more I think about it, and I cannot get my brain around the fact that we as humans want love crave love, yearn for love, but we don't understand what it is. We don't understand what it's about. We do shit saying that we're doing it in the name of love. No, you're doing it in the name of your own personal issues and your own motherfucking demons. Because if you had some self-love and respect, you would treat others in a way that was right because you already treated yourself that way. So if you cannot accept your child and how they're trying to find their footing and they're navigating, that means you yourself is fucked up. That's what it means. And I don't care if you like it or not. Loving, grounded, secure people do not make moves like that. They're not cowardly like that. They're not. They want a situation where everyone wins, not you're adding more scars, trauma, and hurt to the issues. They don't do that. So the girl was strip searched. She was given a uniform and wasn't allowed to talk to anyone for 1 week. What the fuck that got to do with someone being in trouble? Like, this is some demented shit. And that's why when the parents toured the school, you really should have been looking, digging deep. Are these people acting normal? Do these girls seem happy? Do they seem stifled, restricted, stunted? You look in their eyes. You look for their soul. You look for their being. No, what you wanted to see is a bunch of motherfucking robots. How can you go 1 week without talking to someone when you have so many people around you? You're in a new place. You've basically been motherfucking kidnapped. You've been strip searched. And you've been taking away your uniform where you don't know where the fuck you are. And now someone's telling you you can't talk to another motherfucker for a week. Do you know what kind of confusion, mayhem, and emotional turmoil additional that's going to add onto someone? 1 week. That's like solitary confinement without being locked away in the room. They said the other girls couldn't speak or look at her also. Now that really makes you feel like, you know what, something's really deeply wrong with you. And you start questioning, how can my parents, my family, my loved one, how could they have done this to me? What have I done that was so wrong? And then you start thinking, well, maybe what I was doing was really wrong. I was only following my heart, my bliss, but maybe following my heart, my bliss is wrong. And maybe that's why I'm being punished like that. And that's how people start mind fucking you. They mind rape you. They start tearing you to shreds from inside out, all because you're trying to find your way and you're trying to live your best life that speaks to you. Your best life doesn't have to speak to another. It only has to speak to you and only you. But unfortunately, some of us have parents that want us to be spinning motherfucking images of them every way, shape, or form. And under the guise of trying to help you, they fuck you so far up your ass for a very, very long time that you have to do so much work to recover, and you'll never heal. You'll never be the same. You are rattled mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You're tattered. And all you can do is try to take those tattered pieces and try to put them together to make a beautiful image, a beautiful version of yourself. But you will never be the same again. There's nothing anyone can say or do that will ever put you back to how or where you were again. You'll never be the same again. They said all of the girls were supposed troubled teens who needed an intervention that their parents couldn't provide. You can't do an intervention until you understand what it is that's causing this person to run, to act out. You cannot ever do an intervention until you get the linchpin, until you sit back and analyze what has happened. Because no one comes out the womb saying, you know what, I'm going to fuck my life up. Have you ever met a motherfucking infant comes out the cooch and say, you know, I'm ready to fuck some shit up. Wah, wah, wah. Give me that nipple. Bite that bitch. Let's move on. No. So if someone went from being one way and they've transitioned to another, the point is you should have noticed the transition because you'd have caught that shit at that point in time. But now the teenager has fully crossed over to the other side and you can't figure out what's wrong. You can't get through to them. You know why you can't get through to them? Because the way you're trying to get through to them is not working. And whatever they have tried to share with you, you're not listening. You're not hearing them. You're not deciphering what is going on. Interventions can only work when you do your research. You have some thought behind it. With a teenager doesn't have much self-awareness. So you have to have the awareness for them and come at them in a way that clicks, that makes sense. But a teenager is not going to open up to you unless they feel safe, secure, loved no matter what, not judged. That's how you get through to your children. You have to understand that they are people. They are little itty bitty adults. Consider teenagers, kids, adults who haven't fully blossomed into adulthood yet. That's what they are. And you have to understand that when you're dealing with them. You can't have an intervention unless you connect with someone's mind and heart and their soul, and you connect and you understand one another, and then you help them see, okay, this is what you need, this is what you want. Let's find a healthier, more productive path for you to get there. Which means that you're not taking away from who they are and how they are, but you're helping them find a better way to get the same results without the hardship. And that is a skill that is not easy. It takes time. It takes awareness. It takes growth. And a lot of us, whether you like it or not, lack that shit. We lack it. We think as parents that we need to mold a kid or a child to be a certain way. No, we don't mold. We guide. If you don't know the difference between molding and guiding, you need to look that shit up. We are not here to create a replica of who we are, because if we need to create a replica of who we are, then that child of yours would have your same soul. So since they have a different spirit, you should already know that you're not here to mold shit. You're here to guide and respect their spirit and help them get to the most beneficial, secure place where they're supposed to be. Not where you want them to be or not where you would like to be in life. You need to get them where they're going. That is your only goal, is guidance, not molding. Not molding. These kids need an intervention. No, you know who needs a motherfucking intervention? The parents need a motherfucking intervention because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't care if you don't like it. Because if you knew how to relate and you knew how to connect, and I understand it's your wits end, you need to go get help. You need to get spiritual. You need to grow yourself. If you haven't grown or evolved, how the fuck you gonna connect with someone else who's more in tune with herself? Yeah, a troubled teen, I say, is more in tune than their parents. And the only reason why they're considered trouble is that, one, they're doing things that people think they're not supposed to do. But here's the courageous part about it. They are following their soul, their heartbeat. The only issue with that is they don't know the best productive way to accomplish their goals. They're going about it in the wrong way because they don't have the wisdom. They don't have the life experience. And that's when the parents come in. If you can find a way to harness your child's spirit and get them achieving the same results and feelings that they want, but in a more productive, positive way, that is called a win-win situation. There's no molding. It's complete guidance. And you're happy, they're happy, and that train keeps moving down the tracks of bliss. But that's not how it plays out now, does it? This school promised to fix their problems using biblical principles and a tightly controlled environment. That sounds like motherfucking jail. That sounds like jail. It sounds like jail. What do you think about that? It sounds like a religious prison. What people come out of prison rehabilitated, fixed? Most people don't. They come out more fucked up than what they were when they went in, right? But you think because you're paying money for them to go there and it's some nice California mountainous environment that is all better. No, you just sent your child to fucking prison for trying to be and find out who they are and live their truth. That is what you have done. Multiple students were punished for saying that they were gay or bisexual. Did you know that? Oh, that's why you sent them there. Because you couldn't deal with the embarrassment of someone finding out their sexual. Like, what was really going on? Someone's troubled for being gay and bisexual, but you're not troubled for being heterosexual? Huh? Who determines who the fuck is troubled? I would say the motherfucker that's sending their child away is a troubled son of a bitch. I would say you're troubled. But you're saying that someone who's gay and bisexual, those people are troubled. Who the fuck defines what's trouble? Who determines what's trouble? What authority defines or determines who is troubled in this world? Huh? That sounds like some bullshit to me. Troubled. Trouble to whom? Trouble to you or trouble to them? Because the person who's gay and bisexual, they're having the time of their motherfucking life. They're living their best life. So the only motherfucker who's troubled would be you. So how you going to tell somebody else that they're troubled for living their truth when you're the only motherfucker that's bothered by it? So technically, if you're troubled, you should have gone away to that religious school. You should have got your shit straight. You should find out how to forgive and let live and live through love. What you think about that, guys? Huh? The people who are happy and know who they love and are courageous enough to love those people, how are they troubled? I would say the person with the fucking problem is the person with the fucking trouble. And if you got the problems and you are troubled, then maybe you should go away to that religious jail called a school and get your shit straight. How's that for a fucking thought? How's that for a thought? Oh, y'all don't like that. You're not supposed to like it. I'm making a point. Who determines who the fuck is troubled? If I'm happy and I'm doing my thing and it doesn't meet with your rules or standards, how does that make me troubled? If I'm happy, that I am bliss. And if you're fucking angry, uncomfortable, disgruntled, that would make you the trouble motherfucker. That would make you the trouble person. What do you think? What do you think about that? I got a point, don't I? But you don't like my point. But my point is logical, isn't it? If you look up the word trouble and happy don't go together. Troubled is that miserable son of a bitch that's trying to send the happy person away for living their life. Something to think about. They said one girl said she was told her flesh would burn off her skin repeatedly for eternity. That sounds like some fucking cray-cray. If you don't know what cray-cray is, that sounds fucking crazy as hell. Because if her skin was going to fucking burn off for all of eternity repeatedly, that shit would have started burning when she was fucking born. Right? Why is it burning now? It's going to burn now because you said the shit? It should already been burning. Matter of fact, all of us need to motherfucking burn. All of us have committed one sin or another. So as far as I'm concerned, all of our asses should be on fire. It should be on fire. I don't see any smoke coming out my ass. You have any smoke coming out your ass? Or maybe it's coming out the front. Where you got smoke coming out of? Huh? Nobody's on fire, are they? No one's on fire. And that is why you don't send your kids away so they don't hear stupid, crazy ass shit like that. Scared the fuck out of someone thinking their skin is on motherfucking fire. If my skin is on fire, bitch, your skin should be on motherfucking fire. Because basically, you're taking some religious text, choosing a piece that fits for you to scare the fuck out of me, and you're trying to tell me that you are good? Huh? You're doing God's work? You're doing divine work? No, you're doing some fucking bullshit and you are going to be fucking on fire. That's basically what it is. You're manipulating, you're twisting, you're bullying, you're doing all those different things. That's called a punk bitch move. Don't use divine words and choose a small section to prove a point out of a book that's so sacred. That's some weak human nonsense. The whole point of a religious sacred text is to see it in its entirety. You can't just take a book that's so sacred and divine and choose one piece and say, aha, I gotcha. You're wrong. You're going to hell for this. No. That book was written as complete, as a whole, as a unit. It is not meant to be dissected for our manipulative bullying benefits to get people to do things that, no, that's not what it works. That's like us trying to dissect the earth. No, the earth is a whole unit. It's a whole. You can't just choose one part of the earth and say, and trying to do some manipulative bullying stuff. You can't do that. And that's the same with any religious text. You have to look at it in its entirety. You have to read the story, get the picture in its entirety. Absoluteness. Not this, I have nothing to say. It's unbelievable. The things that people pull with some of the most precious literature in this world just to manipulate and put fear in people. That's wrong. She says she was on a no touch for 8 months because she was gay. No touch means she couldn't touch anyone and no one could touch her. If you guys don't know how much human beings need touch, you need to go check out an orphanage. Because after she was on no touch for 8 months, she said when she returned home, she screamed when someone tried to hug her. You probably don't even believe that, do you? But it's the truth. She screamed. You try to go without any talking, any touching, any human interaction. Some of the worst orphanages in the world produce children who are screwed up because there's not enough time to sit down and touch and cuddle and build that affection. We need touch. We need that connection. And these people were trying to destroy these girls in the most insane, hideous manner. She screamed. Now, what are you going to say about that, Mom? Huh? You said sending her away is going to kill you. Now look at your daughter. She comes back. She's screaming on a basic hug, and you think you helped her. I would say you made the problem worse, don't you think? Your whole conversion therapy, rehabilitation, whatever bullshit you want to call it. Look what you did. Look what you did. The daughter that you knew, the spirit that you knew, it's gone. She's been changed forever. And I can guarantee you what you got in return is not what you wanted. It's not what you wanted at all. Now what you got to say about that? How much money you have to fix that shit? Some things can't be fixed. So then you go from feeling bad to feeling guilt to feeling more guilt, right? The shit never ends. The school said it tries to break you and make you comply with the rules. Why you got to break people? You can't find a way to bridge. You can't find a way to connect. You can't find a way to understand. Why are you in the business of dealing with human beings if you can't understand a human being? You can't get to the depths of who they are. Why are you in the business trying to handle humans and help them heal when you don't really care about who they are and what they need? You just want to create a whole bunch of drones, robots. Why would you be in business? And why would anyone pay money to you to do this? It says it tries to make you tame so you're easy to deal with. Easy to deal with. Easy for whom to deal with? You cannot tame a being. You cannot tame it. Why would you want to tame? It's like trying to tame the growth of a tree. Why would you try to tame something that is beyond you? If you really are religious and you're spiritual, you should know that there's some things you cannot touch. There's some things you cannot mess with. There are things that you don't understand. You can never understand. You want to tame a person. We're not animals. We're not animals. I know you think that when people do things that make you uncomfortable, you see them as being the equivalent of a wild animal, a wild beast that needs to be tamed. But the only person that has a problem with this person living their life is you. So that would make you someone who needs to be tamed. Because if you're letting your fear, your insecurities, your hate, and all those things take over you and mistreat you, the only person that needs to be tamed would be you. Guys, we have to really think things through. All these conversion therapies, trying to break people, trying to tame people. Slavery ended. I know y'all don't know this. And even slavery couldn't break everyone. So when are we going to learn to leave people be and to help guide them? When are we going to stop trying to control and overpower people and be more loving, embracing, and accepting? When are we going to do it? Huh? How would you feel if you were being shackled? How would you feel if you were being broken, made to be tamed? How would you feel? Why can't we ever think about that? No, we tell ourselves bullshit and excuses as far as why we're doing what we're doing. But the fact is, how would you feel if it was done to you? Yeah, there are some bad people. Yeah, they make bad choices. And there's some good. But most people, they're pretty damn decent. They make mistakes, but they're pretty damn decent. They just need some help, some clarity, and some guidance. You can't tame a human. I know people try. I know people think they have some version of success. But overall, we're not here to be tamed. We're not here for that. And if you need to tame someone, you need to go tame your damn self. Go to a mountain by yourself and figure out what the fuck your issue is. And then maybe when you come back, you can learn that we're all unique. We're supposed to be unique because we were made in the divine image of what you say you believe in. So if we all exist and we all have different souls and experience, why are you messing with the divine hand? Why are you trying to intervene with something more powerful and divine with you under the guise of working in religious manner? I just called you out. We were all created by something divine. You want to call it God, call it what you want to call it. We exist because of that divine entity. And we take these religious books and say we're going to fix people with this religious text. You can't fix what's already perfect. You can't fix what was already made. So why are you interfering with something that you don't know what you're interfering with? And why don't you guys realize that this is because that's how it was supposed to be, and you need to help guide it so you can harness its full potential. We like fire, right? But at one point in time, people considered fire dangerous. Fire was trouble until we learn how to harness it, how to use its potential for the benefit of all. And that goes the same for people. Stop trying to tame people. Stop trying to break people and figure out what their unique gift is to this world and help them realize that so we can all be happy together. I'll talk to you all next week. Are you disappointed this has come to an end? Well, it doesn't have to. Reach out and let me know what you think about this episode and my podcast. You can try and slide into my DM, but I will kick your ass out. So I suggest you hop into my DM on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding or Twitter at Mrs. D&D, or leave a comment on one of my posts. Now give. My episode links to friends, family, associates, frenemies. Hell, give it to your enemies. Actually, I don't give a damn who you give it to. Just give the shit to people and bring laughter to others and show your love for this podcast. Tell me your needs. Let me fulfill your wants. Do you have someone in your life telling you this? You don't hear this often or at all. Watch my new sideshow episode to find out. It is called What Can I Do For You? You can get it by searching for Difficult and Demanding on YouTube or watch on IGTV. Episode 46 is here on October 5th, 2018 from the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast.